let's start recording. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Allison. I'm an SRA Hub advisor, and today we are going to be talking about how to choose a major. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing is that obviously choosing a major is a completely complex process, so I'm not going to be able to go into every single thing that you should consider when you're choosing a major, but hopefully this will be a good introductory guide. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. Don't raise your hand, just type them in, and then I'll answer them at the end. Okay. So where to start? So you should start with yourself and you should assess your values, your interests, and your skills. So all of these tiny URLs link to web pages that take you to websites where you can basically take like a little test or explore the website where you can determine what your values, interests, and your skills are if you don't know them already on your own. So I'll just use myself as an example. So for my values, something that I really value is I really like to help people. So that was something that I was definitely something that I was looking for in a major, or a major that would lead me to a certain career where I could help people. And I know that's super generic, but it's okay if it's really generic, because that means that your major possibilities will be very wide. And then your interests. So of course, you know what your own interests are, but for me, I really like to help people one-on-one. And so that was something that I was really looking for in my major and my career, or a major that would help me lead to a career where I would be able to help people on a more personal basis. And then for skills, I would say that one of my skills is that I have good interpersonal skills, meaning that I'm able to connect with people pretty easily, and I'm able to kind of gauge and like read people, so I know how to like approach the situation. So those are the three things that you should consider when you are searching for a major. And of course, you can go to any of these links and they will bring you to another page where you can find out about all those things yourself. Okay, research. So there's a lot of different ways you can research different majors, and a good one is just taking personality tests or taking different assessments. So thank goodness we live in the technology age, because now we can just go online and take a bunch of tests that are available to us. So I've listed a couple of them here. So Truity, that is a personality test, and that one is really in depth. So recommend that one. Career One Stop is more of a career-oriented workshop website, excuse me, as the name suggests. But that one's really good because it's like the name suggests, it's like a one-stop shop. So it like explains everything you need to do to move on to a certain career. And then My Next Move is also a really good one. That one talks about like what subjects you should be good at, what level of education you need for certain careers, stuff like that. Okay, and then personality type tests are actually really good too, even though it doesn't seem like that would be like the most obvious fit for what you should major in. Taking personality tests will give you a better idea of who you are as a person, and then that can connect you to majors that you might be interested in or might be a good fit for you. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Myers-Briggs one. That's like the 4-letter code. I'm an ISFJ, for example. And the website that I recommend for that is 16personalities.com. And there's a lot of other websites out there that will test for your MBTI. But that one's really good because there's like a character assigned to each type. So you can easily just click on that character, and then it gives you a huge description of what that character is like. And then there's your love language, which is commonly associated with like, you know, your romantic partner. But I think it's just a good way to see like how you communicate. That's kind of how I see the test. And there's 5 different love languages, and you can go to 5lovelanguages.com to find out what yours is. And then the last one is your Enneagram type. And so this one is also just a personality test. There's 9 different types, I believe, and I'm a type 6, if anyone's interested in knowing. And yeah, so those are just a few personality tests out there. There's lots of different ones too, so feel free to do your own research and find those on your own. And then in addition to that, there's also just your basic major exploration websites. So a good one that I used like when I was researching my own colleges and what I wanted to major in is College Board Big Future. So if you go on College Board, they have this whole segment of their website called Big Future, and you can search different colleges by like whether they're public or private, geographical location, stuff like that. And then they also have a major exploration where they just have all of the different majors that most schools offer. And so you can just go on that and see what you are potentially interested in. And then same thing goes for assist.org. So assist.org is more of a website geared for transfers, but it's also really good for major exploration too, because it's very similar to Big Future, where it just has like a list of majors, and then it gives you like the courses that you need to complete them. And then last but not least is if you already know what school you're going to, then your school likely has its own website describing, all the majors that they offer. And then also probably like the department contact or whoever the department chair is, and all of the advisors associated with the major too, so you can feel free to reach out to them too if you are interested in learning more about a specific major. Okay. Excuse me too, okay, I feel myself getting sick, so sorry if my voice sounds kind of weird. Okay, so next is you should talk it out. So you should definitely try to learn as much as possible about a major before you decide to declare it. And a good way to do that is just by talking to your networks and taking advantage of the resources that are available to you. So you can talk to professors during office hours. And if you don't know what office hours are, they're basically a dedicated time that professors take outside of lecture in order for their students to come talk to them about basically whatever. So you can do that. You can talk to current students and other professionals. A good tip is to also set up informational interviews, informational interviews are basically really informal interviews where you go and you sit down with someone who works in an industry that you're interested in, and then you basically just talk to them about, what their day-to-day is like, what steps they took to get to that point in their career, stuff like that. So it's not a super formal interview. It's more of just like a getting to know them professionally sort of interview. And then in addition to that, you can seek out your advising offices. So like I talked about a little bit earlier, if you go to university, you're going to have your major and your college advisors. So you're going to have 2 different advisors, and you can talk to your major advisor about anything related to your major. So if you don't know what you want to major in, you can usually schedule some sort of appointment with them, or they might have their own office hours too, where you can come talk to them about the major and if you're interested in it. So that's a good way of seeing if that's a good fit for you, because they are basically experts at the major, so they can talk about what classes you need to take in order to declare it, or what type of careers people in the program have gotten since they've graduated. And then same thing with your college advisor. So your college advisor is less specified in your major, but they are also still really good people to talk to in terms of career and major advice. Okay, and then you should also visit your career center. So your career center, they usually offer a lot of assessments and personality tests, like I talked about before, and they're free. So you should take advantage of visiting them. And you could also talk to people there about, obviously, what type of career that you want to pursue. So take advantage of that. I know a lot of students who went to college, including myself, that did not really take advantage of the career center, but just know that you're paying for it, so you might as well take advantage of it. And a lot of people now who have graduated from college really wish that they took advantage of it earlier. i.e. before they graduated. So take advantage of it while you can, because there's really great resources at your career center. Okay, so now we are moving on to Brainstorm. So these are a couple of questions that you should think about before even approaching the question of what you should major in. So the first one is, what academic subjects do you enjoy and you are good at? And then conversely, what subjects do you not enjoy? So for me, I knew that I kind of like math, but I know I for sure did not like biology. And that was like one of my least favorite classes in high school. So I automatically ruled that out. And there's lots of, different types of bio majors at my school and at other schools too. So I automatically ruled that out. And then what are some activities and or hobbies that you like to do in your spare time? So this is a good way to bridge, your interests and what you want to do full-time in the future. And then what are some job or career fields you think you might be interested in? So again, you can set up informational interviews. You can connect with people on LinkedIn to see, or if you can talk to someone who's in an industry that you feel like you can see yourself in. And there's also, a bunch of other websites that you can explore in order to see what sort of industries are out there. And then what are your career and or life goals? So this one is, this is a very broad question. So you definitely don't have to know the answer to it, or at least a very specific answer. But if you at least know what sort of direction you want your life to go in, then that's already a good stepping point for what you should major in. Okay. And before we move on, I'm going to launch the attention check. So just take a few seconds to fill it out. So I know that you're all paying attention. Okay, we're just waiting on one more person. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so we're almost done, just wrapping up. Okay, so things to remember. So you don't need a crystal ball, and your major will not determine the rest of your life. So I think that's a really good thing to remember, especially because a lot of undergraduate students have a very hard time determining what they want to major in. And, that's super common, and so it's totally fine if you stress out about it. But ultimately, it's not going to be the thing that determines your career for the rest of your life. Like I know a lot of people who work in industries that have nothing to do with their major. So just keep that in mind. And you want to choose a major that truly interests you. So a lot of students tend to choose majors that have really big financial returns, aka they have a really nice starting salary, or those majors tend to make a lot of money. And, that's fine if that's something that you are looking for, but you should choose a major that really interests you, because, this is like 4 years of your life that you're going to be dedicating yourself studying. And so you want to make sure that it's something that you really enjoy and that you see yourself applying to your future career. And also just because I know a lot of people who have high paying jobs, but they're not happy with their day-to-day life. So, also take that into consideration. And then I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but most students change their major at least once. So speaking personally, I changed my major probably about 4 times when I was in college, and that's totally normal. Of course, the more classes you take, the more you talk to other people, you might be swayed in a certain direction, or you might discover what you really don't like. And so that's totally fine if you decide to change your major throughout college. And then lastly, I think this is the biggest one, is that the practical experience gained through extracurricular activities, and professional experience is most often more valuable to future employers than your specific major. So going back to the first bullet point, your major is important, but it's not going to be the end all be all. So you want to make sure that you are supplementing your major with internships or holding leadership positions in extracurriculars, and making sure that you have a very strong resume, because ultimately that is more important to employers, typically more than just having a strong major. Okay. Okay, and then there are some common exceptions to this. If any career requires any specific knowledge and or training, it's likely going to require a certain degree. So these are just some of them. So if you're pre-med, you obviously have to take a certain set of courses in order to qualify to go to medical school. Same thing with nursing, engineering, physical therapy, and architecture. However, if you do major in those things, obviously, that doesn't mean that you have to go into those careers, if that makes sense. But if you want to go into these careers specifically, then you're probably going to have to major in these things. Okay, so we've made it to the end. So just a quick recap is you should first do an assessment. So what do you like, what do you value, and what are you good at? Okay, and then you should research. So take assessments like personality type tests, career tests, things like that. And also make sure that you do your own research. Make sure that you, even explore things that you might not even think that you're interested in at all. I mean, you never know, you might discover a gem. You should talk it out. So talk to your network, talk to your professors, talk to your classmates, talk to your advisors, talk to your career center. There's so many people at your school who will be willing to talk to you about their career, their major, and what majors might be best for you. Okay, and then you should brainstorm. So what is a job area or industry you can imagine yourself in? So you can even request to go shadow someone if you're, close to, someone that who works in an industry that you're interested in. If it's like a family member or a good friend or even a connection that you make somehow, if you were able to shadow them, that'd be an awesome way to see if a major is a good fit for you. And then the last thing, the most important thing, is to remember that your major isn't the be all and end all. So make sure that when you decide on a major, to supplement it with internships, extracurriculars, volunteer experience, all that good stuff. All right, so that is the end, and I will take questions. So I will also launch the post poll. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, we're just waiting for one more person to complete the poll. Okay, so it looks like there are no questions. So I think that's going to be it for today. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all on the Hub. Bye.